What's up, guys? So we just finished up the week 3 video. We're now going to get to the week 4 information of COP 2210, Programming 1, Intro to Programming. We're going to today be going over the string methods, some of the methods of the string class, which is going to be like char at, length, index sub, substring, last index sub, replace. And then we're going to go over some of the methods of the character class. So it has is letter, is digit, is white space, to uppercase, to lowercase. These are some of the methods that we're going to be going over. And I'm going to pull up for you an overview real quick so you can look at this, decide if there's any information you need here. So here on the screen, you're going to see all the methods that we're going over, everything I just mentioned. And this is the week 4 overview. Let's get started. So we're going to create a new class. We're going to call it, I'm just going to call this one main. All right, we'll make a main method. Cool. So we're going to make a string variable. We're going to call it name. We're going to set that equal to my name. Okay, Christian Ortiz. Awesome. So first, we're going to go over the string methods. Okay. So if you ever have any questions about what is included in the Java programming language, you want to make sure you go over to the Java API, which you can see right here. And in here, you should be able to find whatever you need. So we're going to go over to the string class briefly so I can show you the information that it has. Here it is. So there's the class string. As you can see in the top, it belongs to java.lang. Java.lang is already inside of Java. You don't have to import it when you're making a project, so that's great. So then you can see here, if we scroll down a little bit, that, well, this is the constructor and all that stuff, but you can see some of the methods that it has here. Here you can see the char at. Let me actually zoom in a little bit for you because this is tiny. Char at, and that method takes an int index. We can even click on it and get a little bit more information about it. It takes us right to it. And char at returns the char value at the specified index. An index ranges from length 0 to length -1. Okay, and there's a bunch of these. So we're going to go over a handful, but if you need to know anything else or you want to see if there's something you could use, you can come here. We're going to create a new char to hold the char that we're going to get from char at. Because if we go back real quick, actually, to this char at, we can see that char at, right up here, this is the return type, right? We learned about return type. This is going to return a char. So we know that we need to have a variable ready to hold that char that is going to return. Awesome. So we're going to have char. We'll just call it C1, whatever. And we're going to set that equal to the char at method. So we're going to say name dot char at. So if you can even scroll down here again and see all the methods that it has, but char at, and we're going to say index 0. If you remember, the index starts at 0, goes to the length -1. So then if we were to print the C1, run this program, then we're going to see it print out the letter C because that is the first char in my name. Okay? Char at returns a char at the index that you asked for. Awesome. The next thing we're going to get is the length. And quickly, real quick, let's go back to the API for a second. So the string class is not static. You don't see anything here that says static or you have to call it static, meaning that we call these methods from the variable that we created. Now, there are some classes, like if we wanted to use the math class, which has a method called pow, we would have to say math.pow to get to that method. We wouldn't create a math object and then use the math object. You just directly use math dot, right, for static methods. If we come here to math, we can see here static, everything static, all these methods static. You can see that. And that's why we have to call it directly from the math. There's only one instance of the math class, and that's the one we're going to use. Okay, that's what static means. So cool. Name, we'll make a int, name length. Set that equal to name dot length, right there. Boom. And if we print out length, name length, it'll count. As a matter of fact, let's shorten this up a little bit so we have something we can count. Let's just use my last name, Ortiz, which has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 characters. We're gonna see 5. Boom. Name.length. Got that. Awesome. Next one, concat. This one's kind of interesting. So we're going to make another string variable. We're going to call it name color, right? And we're gonna set that equal to name dot concat. And remember, concatenating is putting two strings together. Concat. So it's gonna concat my name with my favorite color. Let's say it's blue. Let's see if we put a space on it. And then we're gonna print out name color. And we're gonna change this to my whole name again. So if we print this out, if we run this program, it's gonna concatenate my name and blue. Now, if we were to go back and now try and print out name after running this concat thing, it does not add on to my name variable blue, okay? It doesn't change the name variable. It just concatenates it for this line. So if we set this concatenation to a variable, now of course we've saved that information into a variable, which is why it prints out the way it did, but it doesn't inherently change the name variable. It's important that you understand that. Okay, next, index of. So we're gonna make another one here. We're gonna say int index of, say index of, let's say the letter H. Okay, index of H equals name dot index of, and you can see the different versions of the index of method. We're going to say index of, and we're just going to pass in the char H. Remember to pass in the char with single quotation marks because that's how you denote a char. So we're going to say index of H. We'll print that out. If we run that, we're going to have a 1 because it's going to find the first H in my name, which is in position 0, 1. You can see 1 right there. Boom, we're good to go. Now, if say there was another H in my name, let's add an H right there. Or actually, let's just use I because I already have I in my name. Change this to index of I. Okay. We're gonna get to the first index of I, which is going to give us 0, 1, 2, 3. But say we wanted the index of the next I in my name. How do you do that? Well, we got to make another variable called index of second I equals a name dot index of, and then let me get rid of this because it's getting in the way. And then we're going to actually, there's a version of this method that takes an origin point that you want to start from, and then you can start looking after that point. So we're going to say index of I, start from there plus 1, and then we're going to look for, once again, I. Oh, I'm sorry, see how it's backwards? I actually messed it up. So we're going to first pass in the char that we're looking for, then we're going to say comma, and we're going to pass in index of I, and actually going to start from I plus 1, start from the next index. And if we run this now, let me just change this, index of the second I should give us 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you see right here, 6. Boom, that's how you use index of. We're moving now. Now we're going to use substring. So we're going to say string first name. Okay. Yeah, let's do that. And then we're going to say name.substring. And substring has a few different versions as well. It has one that just takes a beginning index, or one that takes a beginning index and an ending index. So we're going to use the one that takes a beginning index and an ending index. And we're going to start from 0, which is the beginning. And then we're going to go to the end of my first name. In this case, we know how many spaces that is. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8. And it is exclusive, I believe. So we're going to use 0 to 9. And then we're just going to have to print out the first name. Do this one. Run this. It should give me the first name. Awesome. And there's no spaces after that? No. Okay, good. So inclusive on the front, exclusive on the end. So it even says it here, inclusive and exclusive. Okay. So that's substring. Next, we have last index of. Last index of is exactly like index of. It's just going to return the last index of the int. So last index of I equals name dot last index of, super self-explanatory. And we just print that out. Last index of. Cool. 13, that's this one here. And then we're going to do one more for the string class, which is replace. So we're going to say string replaced I equals name dot replace. And then see, it takes an old char and a new char. So we're going to replace all the I's with Z's. And then we're going to set that to this variable. So it's going to be my name, just replacing all those I's. And then we're going to print that out. And if we run that, it's going to give you my name, position, or tzizes. And that is how replace works. So that's all the string methods we're going to go over. Now let's go over quickly the char methods. So the char methods, the character class, is actually has static methods. So if we come up here real quick, you can scroll down, we see static. All these methods are static, meaning that we're going to do the same thing that we were going to do with the math class. So we're going to say character dot, and then we can find all these methods here. The first one we're going to use is letter. It's very self-explanatory. All we're going to do is pass in whatever char we want to check to see if it's a letter. So we could pass in a, right? And this is it's going to return a Boolean. So if we print out, let's set this to a variable. So it's a Boolean. Letter equals letter, and if we just print out is a letter, that's going to print out a true. Okay, but if we change this to a 1, it's going to print out a false. Cool, that's is letter. Along that same vein, we have is digit, which is super self-explanatory and super easy to use. Obviously, is digit. We're going to do the same thing, and then we're going to change this digits. Awesome. So if we check and see if this is a digit, the 1, obviously it is. And of course, if we change it to a letter, it's not going to work. It's going to say false. We have another one called is white space. Okay. And then if we run it now and see name is a white space. This is not a white space. This is a letter. It's going to return false. If we put a space there and run it, it will return true. Awesome. And then we can take actually let's take some characters here. So we're going to say char lowercase. Oh, char is supposed to be lowercase. So char lowercase a equals, and we're going to set it to a lowercase a. And then if we print out lowercase a dot, I'm sorry, if we print out, so let's do it in another line. Character dot to uppercase, and we pass in the lowercase a, and then we print this out. Actually, I did that wrong. Yeah, so this actually needs to be set to a char. So we're going to say char lower 2. And then if we print it out, now it's going to turn it to an uppercase A. Okay. And it's the same thing for to lowercase. If we did it the other way around, just change these up real quick because it's the same thing. Simple. And then we printed that out. Then we're going to get a lowercase a. As you can see, it's an uppercase a. We say to lowercase, not to lowercase. Cool. Also to note is that the string class also has a to uppercase and to lowercase. So if we were to print a name dot to uppercase, that's actually just a method that it has. So if we were to print that out, it's going to put my name in all uppercase letters, and the same thing for to lowercase. You don't have to print anything. You don't have to pass anything in this case. If you're using the character version, yes, it requires you to pass something. But if you're just using this method that's on the string class, you can just leave it like that. You say dot and it knows what you're talking about. It knows you're talking about in reference to that name. Cool, good to go. Is there anything else here I want to explain more? No, that's all the methods. We'll double check quickly on the overview. Here we go. Cool. So that's that. So now we're gonna pull this back up, and the challenge I'm gonna give you guys is pretty much the exact one that you saw in class. Fun with strings. It's super simple. I'm actually not going to go over it since this is the same one that's in class, but it's pretty self-explanatory. So here it is, and it's very simple. You're pretty much going to go to main. You're going to call 10 methods from main. Each method is going to do something different and manipulate the string in a different way. So you can go to main and then have a method called problem1, method called problem2, all the way to problem 10. Excuse me. And then the first method is going to take the length of the string, put it in a parameter, and then print it out. So the length of the string is, and then whatever that length is, or the length of the string, say the string was my name, the length of Christian is, and then print out that length. So you're going to concatenate those. Number 2, find the second I in a word. We already talked about how to do that. How to write an instruction to find the first E in a word. Once again, these are all different methods. So this will be problem 3, problem 4. The first E in the word. Instructions to get the character in the middle. So in order to do that, if you think about it, you would take the length divided by 2, that'd be the middle, and then just find the character that's at that point. Get the first half of the parameter. So you would find, again, the whatever point is the middle point, then get that first half using one of the methods that we talked about. The second half, same thing. Switching the two halves uses both of those same principles, but just grabs them, puts them in variables, and then switches them, prints them out. And then uppercase, we already talked about that. Now this one, write the instruction to square the length of the parameter. So find the length of it, square that, generate a random number between 1 and the squared length, and then print that message, print this message to the user. So I think we went over the random number in the other one, but if we didn't, let me just go over quickly random again so you guys remember what it is. So random is something that needs to be imported. So I just press random enter and it imports it for me. We'll call it myran equals new random. Okay, cool, that's made. So now we're going to square the length of the parameter. So I'll go over this one with you guys. Int, we're gonna say, it's just going to be a double, right? Oh, actually, we're just gonna square that. So we're gonna say int squared length equals, and we're gonna use the name variable that we made earlier. That's the length. Now we can take the length and we can multiply it by itself. That length. That will obviously square the length, but you can also do it this way with the math class. Math.pow takes takes a number and then sets it to the power that's in the second parameter. So we would say the length. So we can say name.length, right? That would be that's the first parameter. So whatever that length is, if it was like 13 or whatever, get that, comma, and then we're gonna put it to the power of this number that we're about to set. So that's squaring it, right? The only thing is that this returns a double, so we're gonna change this to a double. Okay, so that takes the length to the second power. Okay, clear? That squares the length, and then generate a random number between 1 and the squared length. So we're gonna say int random num equals, and then we're gonna use the myran method, or the myran object we made, dot next int, and then we can pass in a origin and a bound. Origin is inclusive, bound is exclusive. So we're gonna say from 1 to the 1 and the squared length. So we're gonna say squared length, and I think it's exclusive, like I said, so we can say squared length plus 1. What's the problem here? It requires a double. Oh no, it requires an int, so we're just gonna cast this to an int. Okay. So now we have a random number between 1 and the squared length, and then actually it doesn't include the squared length. I'm stupid. So we're just gonna take away that plus 1, and that's gonna be between 1 and the squared length, and then we could just print out like it says. Whatever that line is on this piece, on this sheet here. I'm not gonna do it, but that's how you would do that, okay? And then write an instruction to generate a random number between 1 and 100. Print this out. I just went over the random number, so as long as you use that same principle, you should be good to go. And that's it. And you can use the Java API like it says here. So that is the week, what is this? Week 3? Week 4. That's week 4. So next week we're going to talk about, or in the next video, we're going to talk about if else, if, nested if, logical operators, and or not, order of operations, Boolean logic, and truth tables, switch statements, and floating point comparisons. So if you have any questions, comment them down below. If you're in my class, make sure you come to my office hours Mondays and Wednesdays, 7 to 8. And that's it. Just let me know what problems or whatever concerns you guys have. Okay? That's it for today. Peace out.